Launched in September, the One Roar Fund will serve as a vehicle to help all 31 of Columbia's varsity athletics programs and club sports to compete at the highest level. We remain committed to providing our student athletes with the best resources available to help them achieve their goals. Although competition has been postponed, the competitive fire within our student athletes still burns as they await the call to return to athletic events. One Roar will provide our 700-plus student athletes with the necessary resources to stay in prime shape, mentally sharp, and above all, healthy and safe, as we await the continuation of Ivy League play. Together, we roar as one.
Columbia fans, celebrate 150 years of Columbia football with an official shirt. With options in both men's and women's sizes, this authentic shirt is exclusive to the Columbia Athletics team store. Order today at GoColumbiaLions.com.
Welcome back to the Magnolia Era season highlights. Tonight's episode 3, covers the 2018 season. Sit back and enjoy. I'm here with the captains of the 2018 Columbia football team. We have Markham Piccoon, Kyle Kastner, Landon Beatty, and Michael Hinton. And we're going to get going. Thanks for sitting down with us tonight, guys.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys were all elected captains in 2018. I know, Beatty, this was your second time being elected. But what was that? What was that honor like, being elected captain? Markham, we start with you. Why not?
Sure. For me, it was probably a little different than Kyle and Mike, because Landon and I were taking our 5th year during that semester. So in that spring, we were kind of away from the team, doing internships, weren't allowed to practice with the team. We kind of made a couple appearances at workouts when we could and things like that. But it was tough not being able to be with the guys every day, but we were still able to hang out weekends and stuff, be around the team. So maintain kind of the good relationships with everybody. And it was a huge honor being elected a captain, especially coming off such a good season with such high expectations coming into the next year. There was probably a lot of pressure, but it was a huge honor.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo a lot of the things that Markham said, but a little different perspective, like he mentioned. Coming off of a season where I switched positions and was finally able to get on the field, see the field, and play with all of my teammates was something that I enjoyed so much. And then being elected a captain was just over the top. I couldn't have been more honored. Especially just after seeing the previous year, the previous captains, how they carry themselves, how they led us. I learned a lot from them, and I was so thankful to be able to take that into the next season, coming in with young talent that we knew that we could compete. And I honestly loved leading alongside the 3 of these guys. We all became like brothers, and we did the podcasts all the time, and it was a great year. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Awesome. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, just to be in that position, to be a captain was really a great honor. Coming in 2015, we seen a lot of bad times. We saw a lot of the things that went into becoming a winning program, and to see that manifest in 2017, it was really great to see. But we wanted to piggyback off that. We wanted to build upon that, and so kind of leading the charge with our team in 2018, it meant a lot to us, as captains, and I think we applied that pretty well.
Awesome. And Beatty, what was it like, being elected captain for the second year, your fifth year of eligibility, 2 years in a row?
It was I mean, obviously it was a different situation than 2017. As Markin alluded to, we were coming back for our fifth year and we're kind of away from the team, which was challenging in its own right. Definitely missed the camaraderie of just being in the locker room with the guys. But I would say that this group of captains had arguably a bigger responsibility to the program than 28 or 2017, just because we didn't want to be the one and done program. We wanted to establish a culture. And yes, we had a great season in 2017, but it was really, I think it's more of a responsibility on us to kind of show that we're actually there, and to prove that we are that caliber of a program. So it was definitely a different experience, but one that I'm completely honored by. And it was a really, really fun experience.
Awesome. And that leads into my next question. You guys had a historic 8-2 season in 2017, and you guys are elected to lead the charge in 2018 and keep that going. What were the expectations like going into the 2018 season?
Yeah, I'll start. I think coming off the 8-2 season, obviously we thought we were going to be even better. Realistically, I think that we were, 8-2 is great, but we didn't get the ring. So that was the focus is how can we capitalize? How can we take that next step? And we had a lot of guys returning. A lot to be said about the senior class, the 2019 or 2018 senior class. These guys came in to a program that didn't have a head coach, and so that was a kind of a tribute to them and for taking Markham and I into their class, but really to stick with it and come in and change a program. So it was our time to shine really. And I think that we had goals of winning an Ivy League championship for sure. And it was kind of on us to live up to the hype and continue the mission.
Yeah. Going off what Landon said, I think the expectations kind of grew after the 2017 season. It wasn't okay just to win a few conference games. It wasn't okay just to win a few non-conference games. It was kind of like we had a winning record last year. We need to at least do that again this year. And so we kind of prepared in the offseason like that. I think there's a huge change in the mentality of the team between the 2017-2018 seasons. We're expecting to win a lot of games. I think that showed coming to the season.
100%. For me, I don't think we wanted to be a one and done team. We finally made our mark in 2017, I think is the year when we went 8-2. And we carried that into the off season, carried that into the next season. I mean, it started during the summer. We had a lot of people come to do the workouts in the summer. Gil Martin and the strength and conditioning staff coached us like we were an 8-2 team and coached us like we were expected to win. There was no longer this let's have a winning season. Let's go out and get a ring. And I think we trained for that, and we definitely hit adversity during the season, and things went up and down, and we were ready for it because we trained for it.
Yeah, I mean, as all these other guys said, the expectation was to win coming into it. If you look at our roster going into the 2018 season, we had the best receiving core in the Ivy League. We had 4 or 5 offensive line coming back. We had 2 quarterbacks that had multiple snaps. We had running backs that all could do their job. Like we had all the pieces to win. It obviously didn't work out the way we thought it was going to, and for multiple other reasons, but we had all the pieces we needed to do. We just needed to execute on it. So I think that's where all these expectations came from, that we had created this culture of winning and had good players around us. Like it was different than every other year, where this could be the year if we win, but like going into 2018, we had all the tools.
Hello, everyone. It is opening day of the 2018 Columbia football season. Today, they take on the Central Connecticut State Blue Devils.
Yeah, I think it just created the momentum. You get to the game at the student section, like right behind the bench, so everybody's hyped, and people just start making big plays. The offense making big plays, special teams, defense, and we were kind of feeding off each other's energy. And even when adversity hit during that game, because a lot of adversity did hit, we were still able to move forward as a team, which I think that previous years we may not have been able to do. So I think that kind of set the tone of how we wanted to conduct ourselves every game.
Yeah, to add on to that a little bit, the adversity that we did face in that game. First off, we wanted to beat all these non-conference teams as much as we could, to kind of prove to the other people in the Ivy League that, wow, these guys are for real. And last year wasn't just a one and done, and we did show that, but we did run into things like Josh going out and having to deal with that at halftime. And it was, for me, being a wide receiver, losing him next to me, that was bittersweet. And that was something that we as captains had to take on us because, I mean, you lose a playmaker like Josh, some attitudes can change right then and there. And to be able to bounce back and kind of play for him that second half and then carry that on, I think that showed a lot about what this team was about.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. Like you kind of alluded to earlier, it was the first time we played Central Connecticut State. I know they're in the same conference as a couple teams we played before, but didn't really know the opponent going in. It was the first time in my tenure that we actually had hype going on before the season, so there were expectations. And so going into this non-conference game, it was kind of like, all right, how good are we? We were all pretty confident going in, and obviously losing Josh in the second quarter there. That was a big hit to our culture because Josh not only was just a big playmaker, but his big role in the locker room as well. So it showed the depth of our team to be able to kind of rally from adversity, losing a playmaker like that, and then coming back. And we lost Josh Bean too, our starting quarterback. So we lost our starting quarterback and our starting receiver. And that was brutal, but it was interesting. I remember feeling after the game like, wow, that was easier than I thought it would be. Kind of coming away, I looked up at the scoreboard. I was like, wow, we beat them pretty handily, but definitely walked away from that game, a little less pep in my step, losing both Joshes.
Yeah, similar to what Landon said, I remember the play I remember the most from that game is the Dante Miller touchdown to kind of cap the game off. And that's kind of when I knew, because to be honest, like Landon said, it was a pretty easy win. Like we handled our business, but they were a physical team. And so it was a good kind of reality check to start the season to realize that we have some real playmakers, we're physical, and we have depth. Like Landon says, we can kind of one next man up mentality.
So yeah, going into that game, that was the first game of our senior year, and so I know all the seniors especially were excited for that one, and I know a lot of preparation went into that game. And yeah, I think that game we did what we needed to do. I think the first half was a little bit slow getting things going, but in the end, the team was able to pull together. And I know we had 2 huge special teams plays, as well as I'm pretty sure Dante Miller had his first touchdown run that year for 80 yards or so, and he took off down the sideline. So. Yeah, that was just a great game for the whole team and a great way to get our season started, especially for the seniors in their senior season.
That was first game of my sophomore year, so I was given more responsibility on special teams and our defensive third down packages, and I was kind of finding myself, especially after being a freshman going through that whole first year. I think it was my first play in on punts that the fumble recovery kind of happened, or we returned the ball. I was nervous. This was like my first time in. I remember they had kind of like a crowd. I was like, I'm gonna kill it, but I don't know. This is my first time in, more responsibility. So like first things first, like it comes down to like our team mantra, like effort, accountability, team. Like the one thing I know that I can do is give 110 effort percent. Even if I mess up, even if I don't, and I know that I'm given a role, I'm giving a place in this system, and I need to do my job, and my teammates need to, like, I need to be accountable for my teammates the same way they need to be accountable for me. So ball snaps, I'm going. Well, at first I kind of stalk block, and then I dip to the return man. And I remember him waving. So I was like, okay, cool. You just have to make sure he doesn't drop anything. I wasn't expecting him to kind of muff the punt. So then his dude kind of hit him. And then at that point I saw the ball in the air. So it was kind of like act now or don't and drop it. So I just caught the ball. I think I ran, even though you can advance. But like in my mind, I was just like, go, I got the ball, let me score. So that was that. And then the second play, I think that was the play, that was the punt right after that one. And same kind of mentality. I was kind of juiced from the first one. I was like, okay, cool. It's not going to happen twice, but like, all right, first play, I'm cool. So same kind of thing about the stock block. The dude doesn't come for me, so I dip past him. I'm like basically second man down. So I'm kind of I'm expecting him to kind of wave again, and then he muffs the punt again. So at that point, I was like, it's now or nothing. So I just dove for it before he could get it. I was crossing my fingers for a touchdown. I thought they could give it to me, but they didn't. So it's cool.
So a quick second down and goal. Leonard under center. Takes it himself into the end zone. Touchdown, Columbia. Ty Leonard, his second rushing touchdown of the game. And Columbia leads 26-14. Davis is the quarterback. Hands it off to Dante Miller, and he's through the line. And down the sideline, and there goes Dante Miller. To the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown. 83 yards, Dante Miller. Columbia leads 40-17.
It was a big play. Up until that point, I was really nervous about playing my first college football game, and Durazio put me in there. We ran inside zone. I was patient. I saw the hole. I hit it, made one guy miss, and just kept it going to the end zone. That was one of the biggest seasons that, like, I feel like I've had, though, football-wise. It taught me everything. Like, taught me how to be patient. It gave me a lot of different attributes I feel like I needed to be a successful football player. And, like, that season, as a team, we really stood together. That shaped the way we carried everything into the summer. It was crazy. It was crazy, honestly. Like, there's nothing that can really, like equate to that feeling. Like, I've scored other touchdowns. Like last year I scored a touchdown against like Penn and whatnot, but like nothing is gonna feel like that first touchdown. That first touchdown, it's like tasting a new food. It's just completely different.
Live from Cooper Field in Washington, D.C., it's Columbia football on the Columbia Lions Radio Network. Today, the 1-0 Columbia Lions take on the 1-2 Georgetown Hoyas. Ronald Smith split left. Davis.
We are still really confident. Obviously, we expected to beat Georgetown. We beat them the year before. And so I wouldn't say we underestimated them, but they definitely improved from the season before. And, it took us a while to get into gear with the backup quarterback and losing Josh. I think Ronnie had a pretty good game to fill in there. What I remember is just resiliency. And, after the first half, we came back to the locker room and didn't expect it to be that close of a game. And so it was kind of a reality check. It was like, all right, like this would be an upset, like we can't, drop the ball here. So back in the second half, I remember it got even closer there. And who was it that made that sack to win the game?
Ogana. Yeah, he balled out. But it was an interesting game. It's a rivalry game. We got the trophy to play for, so it does mean more. And like, we were seniors, so we lost to them before. So we knew Georgetown. We kind of had a little beef with Georgetown, but I think we left feeling a sense of we didn't do as well as we should have, but we got away with it. So it kind of felt like an escape, with a win. But 2-0 going into Princeton felt good. Yeah, for sure. I remember that Georgetown game. We played them the 2016 season at Georgetown. We lost. That was like a sick feeling. you ever had one of those games where it's like you should have won? That was a really sick feeling, and I knew we can't experience that again. Like Landon said, they're definitely better than I thought. Like they kind of had some surprises like up front for the offensive line. They're moving a lot better, and I know as a defensive standpoint, we had to hold it down. We had to make sure we got stops when we needed to, get the ball to the offense. But even when like they had the momentum in Georgetown, they would start scoring and stuff like that. We held strong. We were very resilient that game. I think that was just a testament to our character.
Yeah, I think the most important thing from the game is that we came out 2-0 and how important that was. And we learned that the year before and how important it is to get a fast start in the Ivy League and have that confidence going into Ivy League play. So that was a huge thing. And I think offensively it was pretty sloppy and the defense kind of carried us through that. But there was never a point in the game where I felt like, oh, this might get out of hand. Like we were always confident throughout the game that we were going to win.
And that's a fun atmosphere to play in. Going to Georgetown and playing right in the middle of their campus, that was fun. I remember we came out in our brand new uniforms. That was pretty fun too. We looked good and we looked good, play good. And so, I mean, yeah, we were sloppy, but getting a win when you don't play very well is also a good sign too. So there are always things positive to take away, even in kind of down games.
Georgetown was one of those teams, we would always, for some reason, it hit close to home. We always wanted to go, just smack them because they would always schedule us for homecoming for them. And, when someone schedules you for homecoming, you got to take that kind of personally, right? You want to go in there and just kind of stomp them and ruin their day. And, in 2018, that's exactly what we did. We went in there and it was actually kind of a nail biter to the end. And I remember when Ogana Areadu came up with that ball at the very end and, we kind of just kneeled out to win the game. And it was fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, that was definitely a game that sticks with me. Those 3 field goals ended up coming in clutch, and we could have used every single point we got there.
That game was definitely interesting because I was coming off that CCSU game where I was sick, and that was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. So I was kind of really pumped up to finally get out there and feel good and play. So we came out and we had just put twist in, which is where I got the first sack, and we called it probably a few plays into the first defensive drive out there. And that worked instantly. I literally rolled right off a dude into the quarterback's chest and brought him right down. So that was the first one. And that was a lot of fun. It was fun to see that kind of turn into a sack instantly. And then just from there, it was just trying to keep rolling with it, like trying to stay on top of that, like high of like, all right, finally playing, feeling good, back on the field. Because even the year before, like I didn't get to finish the year because of my knee and all that. So I was just hyped up to play. So that was a fun game. That was a lot of back and forth, and then having it come down the way it did. It was a good time to be out there finally and just playing. So definitely one of my favorite games, I think, of all time.
Gets the snap, throws to Williams, nearly intercepted.
Here it comes, 4th down.
4th down, this is the play of the game for both sides. Georgetown needs to get in the end zone. They need a 2-point conversion. Johnson being pressured, and he's going to be sacked! Ogana Areadu! And once again, the Columbia Lions defensive front comes up big at the right time.
Autumn has officially arrived here in New York City from Midtown to the Upper West Side of Manhattan. That means only one thing. It is football weather for a Saturday afternoon affair between the Ivy League and the Pioneer Football League as Columbia welcomes Marist to town.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. Getting back on track, that was the main focal point of the game. Was kind of start fast, start strong. But they have a couple good playmakers on their team, and they had especially the ability to kind of go over the top with the passing game and make a big play. And we even saw that in 2017. They had some opportunities to make some big plays. They just didn't convert on them. And offensively, I remember running the ball really well in that game. And so that was a really good sign, kind of boost for the young running backs and the offensive line.
Yeah, that was fun. And I was going to say the thing about Marist was we kind of had the defensive back kind of letting out those long touchdown plays. But that's like, they had our back in Georgetown. So it's kind of like that switch off. And that's what kind of I enjoyed to see. Each side of the ball had each other's back. And if we were playing down one day and the defense would cover us, and if the defense was playing down, we would cover them. So that was a fun game. It was good to get back on track and get another win.
That was the first game after I got hurt against Princeton, so I remember just feeling weird that I didn't suit up for the game. But I remember we came out flat to begin the game, and it was kind of not nerve-wracking, but you never want to come out. You know, in warm-ups, the energy just wasn't there, and I was. You never want to go into a game too confident, and I think we look back to the year before and we're like, oh, we're going to beat these guys. We have more talent. You know, we beat them last year. And then they kind of slapped us in the face with I think it was number 85. The receiver got, 2 long touchdowns, and we were like, all right, let's go. They're punching us in the mouth. We need to bring it back to them. And so it was a good win, obviously, to come back and beat them. But I think the theme throughout the whole year was adversity, and coming back from adversity and showing that we had the depth to match all these injuries. And I think that win kind of just put us in the right direction, got our minds right, headed into kind of a difficult stretch there in the Ivy League.
For sure. That game was really frustrating as a defensive lineman. They really only scored on like 3 plays, just like 3 long balls. But I will say what we did lack in the first like 3 or so quarters. The fourth quarter, we need to get stops. We got the stops. There's a couple times where they could have taken the lead. Things could have entirely flipped momentum, but the defense really stepped up when it mattered. And the offense was able to keep points on the board. So being able to balance this out, offense and defensive wise, I think helped us get the win.
I remember having a battle with their tackle. That was definitely something that early on, I think I kind of underestimated them a little bit. And I guess that was just me trying to be a little confident about it. But that tackle was definitely a lot better than I had realized, right off the bat. And so finally, when I started getting around him and getting to where I wanted to be, it started feeling real good. And then all of a sudden, I think one of my sacks was close to their goal line. I think I remember the picture. And I just remember getting off the tackle. He had said something to me a few plays before that, and it pissed me off. So I was ready to go. And I just hit him with a speed rush and ripped right outside of him and came around and got the quarterback. And that was fun. That was a good moment too. That felt really good because I put it in that kid's face, and I also got that nice sack. So that's definitely one of the main highlights I remember from that.
Columbia has to keep everything in front of them.
The linebackers, Allenbeck throwing down the middle of the field, and it is intercepted by Columbia. And coming down with it is their main leader in the backfield, Ryan Gilbert. The New York City area has been hit with a nor'easter in the heart of the Ivy League season. Wet conditions and high winds will serve as the backdrop to the latest meeting between Columbia and Yale.
That game was awesome. It was really, really I think it was a program win. It showed that, we got slapped in the mouth the previous 2 weeks, and we had so much adversity. So many guys were injured, and it was just like next man up mentality. Like, we also carried some beef the year before. They beat us. They won the Ivy League, and they kept us from holding that ring. So we kind of had that chip on our shoulder against Yale. But I remember going in and just feeling disrespected by Yale, and the whole game, it was just like, let's go, next man up, let's go. And then when Ryan Suit got hurt, it was like, we have nothing to lose. Like, there's no one that thinks we're going to win this game. There's nothing. Everyone thinks that we're going to lose. We're down to our 4th-string quarterback, 5th-string quarterback. Like, let's go. Like, let's just do it. And I think when Ryan Young had that run at the end of the game, that was kind of just such a statement run. It was like, all right, like, this isn't the Columbia of old. Like, we have the talent, like, we have the depth, we have the mentality. Like, don't underestimate us. We're not that Columbia.
And they are looking for more. Low snap. They're going to go to the air. Check's got time. Down the field. And this pass is intercepted. A fantastic play by Landon Beatty in his first game back after missing 3. And he plucked that right out of the air for a huge change in possession.
Welcome back, Landon Beatty.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was just really a gritty game. Like, you got to love football. to be in that environment because they didn't want to lose. We definitely didn't want to lose, especially what happened the year prior. The defense made a lot of good plays. You know, they had some really good offensive linemen, some good playmakers. Then our offense made a lot of good plays as well. So just being in that environment, especially coming down to the last second when Gilbert made the interception in the end zone, I was so happy. I was so happy. But it was just all around, like Brady said, program win, something I was glad to be a part of.
Absolutely. Coming into that game, I mean, and coming into the season, that game was circled. Coming off that last year when they won the title and beat us in a close game, I mean, all we wanted to do was get revenge. So gritting out a game like that, like Mike said, I mean, in a tough environment, you have to love some football to be in that kind of environment. And I mean, it was fun. It was fun to beat them, and it was fun to beat them in a kind of gritty fashion.
Yeah, I think revenge was a huge factor in the game. It was never any doubt in anyone's mind. It was just let's beat Yale. Like, remember what happened last year. Like, let's get this job done. Doesn't matter what's going on. Let's just finish this. And so I think that was one of the more satisfying wins of my entire college career. That win, seeing Matt Dame lead the charge, the run with Ryan Young, and then Gilbert's interception to cap it off it's up there with the pin game in 2017 for me, for sure.
From the start of the Yale game, the number one, kind of central point of our strategy was handling the weather. And obviously, when you have a nor'easter, the biggest thing you're trying to do is keep the ball in your possession, try and avoid any sort of fumbles with a wet ball, that sort of thing. So they were kind of aligning to sometimes two returners. They were aligning sometimes in safe. So we knew initially, okay, they're not going to be bringing as much pressure, which sometimes means they're going to be setting up a return. But we kind of pivoted a little bit once we knew they weren't going to try and go for the ball and pick up the ball with the wet conditions. We were like, okay, we can drive the ball a little bit, use a little bit of the directional punting to our advantage. So I think for us, it was about a game plan, and then it was about pivoting within that game plan as kind of the game progressed on. Once we knew that they weren't going to pick up the ball, I had actually switched over to a drive pooch punt, as I call it. So I have 4 to 5 different types of punts that I hit in a game, as far as different molds, different swings. So for that game, I started drive pooch punting, and that worked really well, just because the ball would kind of run off the turf a little bit easier. One of the 60-yard punts, you could see it was probably 50-something in the air, and then got at least 15 of roll just because of the slick ground. So I think for us, that was part of the game plan is, play the hands we're given. The snaps all day were great. Patrick Eby, one of the best long snappers in the country, probably one of the best to come through our program.
And the defense doing their job. It's just a matter of if the offense, maybe even special teams here, Lance, flip the field position a little bit.
Mike Russo's looking for an opportunity. A flag comes in here as the punt is blocked and the ball rolls. Yale is going to jump back on top of it.
Oh, there you go. Big play for Columbia. As we talked about, they needed it. They got it via special teams. Once again, shocker, as the kick was just blocked.
That game, not only did we lose all our quarterbacks, it was just that nasty weather, rain, all the conditions that you could possibly not want in a game was then. So it came down to really, obviously the focus on our team's always been special teams. Stowe's always focused on that, and Bagnola's always made a point to get that going. And we drew up, I remember we kept drawing up a specific instance where they were going to go into their rocket set, which is just their punter rolling out, that we were going to check bullet and get a block going. And I just remember that instance, we just were getting ready for them to do it. And right when they called it, it was either me or someone else was going to be free and get in there on the play. So obviously the way it worked out, they set it up perfectly and gave us they tipped their hat on what the play was. I knew it was coming, and everybody else knew it was coming. Sending the block, and I just remember going in and getting a piece on it. I didn't get all of it, which kind of was frustrating. I remember Stowe has to the day given me crap about how I didn't get the whole thing and I should have done better. But I was able to get a block, and I think a key asset in that game was definitely teams, just because it was just we got down to everything. It was the rain, our quarterbacks going down, and special teams in general was a key asset, even just in general that year too.
So going into that game, I mean, obviously we're plagued with injury, especially at the quarterback position. So I was getting practice reps that week. So I kind of knew, there was a possibility that I could go into the game, even though Ryan Suit was starting. And unfortunately, when Ryan got hurt, I was kind of thrust into the game. And I think for me, it was more so just, the coaches always emphasize, like next man up. If you get your number called, you got to be ready. And I think I really took that to heart. I was a career backup, but if I was going to get the opportunity to play, I was going to be ready. And I think that's one thing for me that I just, really took to heart. And when I got the opportunity to go out there, I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave it all on the field. You might think like I would have butterflies or get nervous, but actually I was completely calm and ready to go. And just kind of, like I said, just leaving it all out there. I had really nothing to lose. So I think, the first drive we had, we actually called like a trick play. And it was like a fake to the running back, and then he wheeled out. I was supposed to roll to the right. We actually had like a missed block on the right. So I had to kind of, do a little dance and step up and completed the pass. But that kind of got my nerves settled down a little bit. And just from there, I mean, it was just good, team football all around. Like our defense stepped up when they needed to. Our O-line played great. We had, 45-yard touchdown run by Ryan. And I think, everybody really just stepped up like when they needed to. The focus obviously wasn't on me. I didn't, do anything spectacular or anything like that. I think it was more of just when I went in, I did what was asked of me, and everybody else, played up to how they should.
They go to the ground again with Young. Finds the hole up the middle. He's got open space. One guy to beat. He's still not down, and he dives in for a touchdown. What a change of events here in New York City. Ryan Young, his first rushing touchdown, and Columbia has taken the lead.
Boy, what a fantastic run from Young. I mean, that is as impressive a finish to a run as you will see.
Well, it was a fun one. It was, if I remember correctly, it wasn't very good weather, very nice weather, but that was all right. Going into the Yale game, definitely we had some issues as a team. Injuries plagued us a little bit. So a lot of people who didn't normally start or play were thrown into situations that they might necessarily have been ready for. But when we went in there, it was a grind. It was a real tough game, close one. And then the play that I scored on, I remember it was, I want to say the beginning of the fourth quarter, about midfield, and we run a play, and I just remember running that play in practice and making the right reads, and getting skinny and hitting the hole, and that's exactly what I did. I carried the dude with me a little bit, and then we were dancing in the end zone, and then that was the winning touchdown. So that was a great feeling, and it really felt like a breakout game for me, and where I finally got to have everyone see what I could do, and that was very, very exciting. Well, it just shows you that we have grit and heart, and we're a great team. No matter who you put in there, we're well coached. Like you said, Matt Dane was in there. Didn't really have much experience on the field playing. I was in there. There's a lot of other people who didn't necessarily have that experience that season, but we came in and we did what we were taught, and we just executed.
The Yale offense back in the end zone for the first time since the first half. Columbia bringing the pressure again. They go towards the end zone, and it's intercepted as they tried to get the ball to Klubnik. Columbia's defense comes through once again, and this time it's the other safety, Ryan Gilbert. Landon Beatty had the first one. Gilbert has the second, and that is what you call exclamation point Columbia.
I mean, it was awesome. You talk about, all these people, because there's 120 people on the team, and not everybody plays every game, not everybody plays at all in their career. So it kind of comes to a point where you kind of question, like, am I really helping the team here? Like, is it really worth it in the end? And I think that game really changed that for me. It was kind of the turning point where I was like, I got in, I played. I helped the team win this game. For the rest of my life, I could say that I contributed on this team. So I think just for me personally, winning was huge, obviously, to take out Yale, especially in literally a monsoon, which was another kind of unique thing about that game. But I think specifically for the quarterback position and being a backup, I think everybody on a Division I roster, if you're a quarterback, you should, expect that you can play at a high level. Like, confidence is key in that position, especially. So for me, it was never, kind of something where I was like, oh, I'm not good enough to play or anything like that. I always thought I had the ability. It was just getting the opportunity to go out there, and then, like I was saying, once you get the opportunity, you have to take advantage of it.
Live from Brown Stadium in beautiful Providence, it's another edition of Ivy League football here on the Columbia Online Radio Network. Today, it's the Bears of Brown playing host to the Columbia Lions.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome to be a part of. But I would say it's a true testament to the O-linemen and the kind of the scheme as a whole. That game, we went in with a kind of a different mentality, different play calling scheme, running that Wildcat offense more and more during that game. I mean, it tested my conditioning, that's for sure. So it was fun, and I couldn't be more proud of the line. Those holes wouldn't have been there without them. Those holes wouldn't have been there without the wide receivers on the outside too. So it was just a kind of a dominating performance by the offense in a way that, I mean, you love to run the ball down someone's throat, and that's what we did. And we even had some trick plays too. And I mean, that's just a fun way to win a game. A shootout, running the ball down their throats and scoring on trick plays. I mean, there's not much more than that you want on the offensive side. So something I'll definitely always remember, and always really give thanks to the linemen and the other guys involved.
2nd and 7 at the Brown 25. Leonard takes the snap, throws to Kastner. It's a backwards pass as Kastner throws it back across to the near side of the field. Ryan Young's got space. Young inside the 5. He's in for the touchdown. How about that? Kyle Kastner on the throwback pass. That is his 2nd touchdown pass of the game.
Yeah, I'll go. I remember the game starting off slow too. I mean, we were down, and credit to the offensive coaching staff. And I remember Ferraro was ripping us at halftime. But credit to the coaching staff, honestly. They figured it out. They kind of showed a whole new package that really we hadn't shown much before. And Kyle just executed it perfectly, the O-line. But another game with adversity. I mean, Markham Pacoon, our captain, gets gruesomely hurt on the field, and that was a big blow to the team as well. And but we've just found a way, it kind of reminded me of that Yale game, just kind of gritting it out. And eventually it was just like we overpowered them. And it was like, we're not losing to Brown. Like we're this program, and no disrespect to Brown, but we didn't expect to lose that game. And I just remember, it was the first game that I felt like I could rest on the sideline because our offense was on the field for so long. And it was a great feeling, and it was awesome to see Kyle come out and get 5 touchdowns and just completely dominate them. Good feeling for me sitting on the sideline.
I think that was one of those games. It's like we started off slow, like Landon said. Coach Ferraro was very not pleased. It came down to like, who want to make a play? Who's going to make a play? And I remember the defense really just flying around. People just having fun. Sideline to sideline, the Brown quarterback was just scared for his life. certain point because he was leaving the pocket so quick. And Brown, they do a lot of like the trickery stuff, the trick plays, because that's how they score their points. And we kind of felt that a little bit early on, but we really tightened down. And then Kyle doing his thing with the offensive line, moving the ball. We really got balanced out towards the end, where it's like you can bring to the table, and they couldn't match that energy.
It's Ryan Young, a 9-yard touchdown score.
Yeah, kind of alluding to what Landon said earlier. I had my injury in that game, so I was in the locker room for a good portion of it. But I remember coming out in the second half, and these guys acted like it was kind of a tough game. But when I came out, the offense was kind of running the ball up and down the field, and the defensive line was suffocating the quarterback. So it was really nice to come back after kind of something where your career's ended. And, it's real emotional at first, but coming out to a win like that and seeing the guys with high energy and making plays like that was really a good feeling.
Yeah, I remember it was like playing on a slip and slide with like socks on. It was terrible. It was wet out. And I remember going in, it was a little bit in the back of my head. Obviously, we wanted to win the game just as it was, but I knew in the back of my head the sack record was like right there. And I think I needed that 2.5 to just break right over the top of it. So it was kind of like in the back of my head, and I was going real hard during that whole game. It was tough because every time I take a hard step, I'm sliding a little bit. I'm trying to make up for it. So I was going all out the whole time. I felt like I was just sprinting in circles and trying to keep my feet the whole time. But that was definitely fun, especially watching Castern go and they getting a chance to just jump out there with like the momentum he was giving us. I remember one of those sacks. I think I hit the kid and put him down, and he kind of laid there for a second. I remember whispering in his ear, "Don't get back up." And I think after that, a few plays later, he was out of the game for the rest of the game. They had switched quarterbacks. So that was one of the highlights from that too. I remember that vividly. I just like hit him real hard. He laid there for a second. I just whispered right in his ear, like, "Don't get up again." And he stayed out after that. So it was a little bit of relief because like that weight was off my shoulders the last game of the season, which was nice. I could just go out and play. But at the same time, it was also like that's awesome. Like I just made a little bit of history for myself and the school and all that. So, compounding that with winning the game as we did, I think that was a really good moment. And I remember my parents were there, my girlfriend was there with her mom, so it was nice to kind of have them there and like immediately able to celebrate with them a little bit. So that was a really nice moment. I definitely love that moment.
They have a chance to have back-to-back winning seasons for the first time since 1961 and 62. That should not be overlooked. With all the injuries, that's some accomplishment for this Columbia team.
I think for some reason, every time we play Cornell, it is like the hardest game. No matter who wins, it's always close, and sometimes it shouldn't be. And so that game, I knew going into that game that we were probably the better team, but it was going to be a dogfight. And kind of being on the sidelines watching is always tough. But I remember kind of when Mike ran that touchdown back, it was kind of the rush of emotions of the season's kind of over, but also that we've won. And it kind of a theme throughout the season was seeing these young guys like Mike Russos, Ryan Young, Cam Carter step up and make all these huge plays throughout the year when we had all these high expectations of guys like Josh Wainwright, Josh Bean, myself. And we get injured, we get hurt, and seeing all these young guys step up, it was as a fifth-year guy, it was really a great thing to see throughout the year, and it was highlighted very much in the Cornell game.
It's kind of like we passed the baton to the young guys at that point, and it was amazing to see. I mean, Mikey with the cap on the season, a season that we didn't want to end, so it was like we were watching him run down the field, excited, happy, like joyful, but crying that it was over. I mean, the season's over and your football career is over. At least for us three. Mike went on to play another year, but it's bittersweet. But man, nothing like going out like that, and knowing that it was going to continue with the young guys kind of all year, like we mentioned, more and more they made an impact, and then to cap it off, it was a great year, and loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I remember the whole week was just such a sense of like finality. And the year before, I kind of knew that I was going to come back after Markham finally told me he was going to come back. I was like, all right, we're back, baby. So I didn't really feel like the senior day was real the year before, but the whole week it was just like practice. Just it looked different. Like the smells were different. Like it was emotional and sad but happy. And then I remember like Thursday practice. I'm a kid from California. I went to New York to play college football, and I'd never played in snow before. And the last possible practice was a blizzard, and it was the most fun I've ever had. We were just enjoying it, man. I remember going out there. The last practice, it's kind of a tradition to switch your jersey, and it was just a fun week. And going into the game, we knew that it was going to be tough. Cornell always plays us tough. Even the year before, like it was a contested game and a rivalry game, and so for us, it definitely it was disheartening to give up that touchdown. I remember thinking, like, when I lined up for a field goal, I was like, I really just lost my final game at Columbia, and it was like my fault because like the defense gave up a touchdown. Like I can't believe that happened. And then I remember going back to the sideline, like everyone was just kind of down. Like even I was down, and like the year before, like I never doubted it, and I doubted it. And when I saw Mikey running, I looked in I was like sitting on the bench, and I looked up and I saw him like wiggle. That dude has so much wiggle. I don't know how he does it, but he's just got that like that sauce. And when I saw him break it, I was like, holy, and so I got up and I just couldn't like hold my emotion. I started freaking crying, like what is going on? And then I remember going out there. I'm thankful for Mikey because I got the opportunity to go back out there for one last time and kind of lock it up. And I just remember feeling just a wave of emotion once the clock hit 0 and everyone came out, and just an awesome game. I think, a lot of us played NCAA growing up, and it was definitely an ESPN classic to play in. So I was definitely honored. It was a cherry on top of an amazing year, and just kind of a program shift. We finally are able to win these close games, and to go out like that, it was an unbelievable feeling. Just something I'll never forget.
That Cornell game, like you said, it was back and forth. When they scored at the goal line, like a minute left, for like oh my gosh. Like, you don't want to say like it's over, but that feeling kind of leaves you, especially it's not in your hands anymore as a defensive player. I've never been as happy as I was when he started running that thing back. I was jumping up and down, running down the sideline. Kind of just like that mantra, like your teammate always has your back, We put our all into that game, up and down. That was the last time playing at that field. And everybody was willing to win. We made a lot of plays, made some mistakes, but that was really a great team effort into like making sure that we played to the clock 6-0.
Mike Russos back to receive. 91-yard return for a touchdown in this game. They go for the squibble kick. Russos fields it, trying to find an opening up the gut. He gets out into open space. Are you kidding me? At the 40. They're still trailing on the play. The 20. Mike Russos does it again. And Columbia on senior day has worked its magic with a freshman.
Wow, Lance, are you kidding me? On a squib kick.
Yeah, I remember that game. Really good. That was like my first like not real opportunity, but I never started first few games. And unfortunately Josh got injured. Gave me an opportunity to play a little bit more at returner. So, that game, I'm not sure if we were down during that punt return, but I just know that it was a close game and we needed something to happen. And I just remember thinking like I could really do something here if I get an opportunity. So I remember the punt return, and I honestly, when I'm going through the play, I don't remember too much. I just adrenaline takes over. But the punt return, I just remember there's a couple guys in my face, and was able to break a few tackles and run down the sidelines. It was great blocking by my teammates, and I was able to score there. And the kick return, we were down. It was like the final 50 seconds of the game, and I was just thinking like, I have to make something happen here if we want to, get a good return. I wasn't expecting a touchdown. I was expecting a good return, and I'm trying to get my team in position. I think we were down by what, 3 or 4 points, something like that.
Yeah, we're down 4.
4, yeah. So we needed something. We needed a good field position. I remember, they scribbed it and just saw a couple holes, and I just took them and was able to have some wiggle room and score. It was great blocking, great hole down the middle, and I was able to split it and one-on-one with the kicker, like anyone. That's the best matchup right there. So it was good. I don't even know. I don't know why I did that, or what went through my mind when it was going on. I just remember getting past the kicker, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna score a touchdown here and like win the game." And I saw the end zone, and I was just so happy, and I just jumped in there.
The best way to end the game, the best way to end the season on Senior Day is in victory formation. And the Lions are going to have that luxury. Ty Lenhart takes a knee, and it has been a long time since we have heard this line. Columbia posting back-to-back winning seasons for the first time since 1961 and 62. Columbia caps off an exhilarating campaign with a 6-4 mark, and they will finish in the top half of the Ivy League standings. 24-21 is the final.
The thing that none of you guys have mentioned, and it should be pointed out, is you guys are 5-4 going into that game. A win gives you a winning season and really puts you in the Columbia history books as the first team to have back-to-back winning seasons since 1961 and 62. So you win the game. You guys are in Columbia football lore. What does that mean to you guys to be on a historic team and ultimately a team that helped change the culture for Columbia football?
For me, it means a lot because I know when in 2014 when Landon and I in our class showed up under Coach Bangarian, it was we want to change the program. We want to be a winning program. And I don't think people believed in us except for the 32 guys that were in that class and then the class after that, because we were 0-24 for a time, and then we were 2-8 and 3-7, and it didn't look like it was ever going to be possible. And then by the time we were in 2018 and we faced adversity and it looked like it shouldn't happen again, and it was bad luck, blame it on injuries, whatever. But credit to all the guys on the team, next man up, that wasn't an option. We're a winning program and winners win. And we found a way to kind of secure that 6-4 record. And it wasn't necessarily the outcome we wanted at the beginning of the season, but by the time we'd gotten to that point, I think it was a great kind of milestone for the program to be at.
For sure. To Marcus' point, every team or every class that comes into Columbia, they always recruit you on to be that class to change the culture, be that class. I think that going into a losing situation and like flipping the switch to where by the time you graduate, it's a winning mentality, it's a winning culture, it's a winning program. Like that really, like, I can always look back at my college experience and be like, wow, we really did that. I'm proud of being able to say I was at Columbia during 2017, 2018, we went back to back. And not too many people can say that at Columbia, and the fact that our class and the whole team really put in that effort to do that 2 years in a row, it just means so much to me in my experience. I know it means a lot to these other guys as well.
Definitely. For me, it allows us to reminisce of 2 amazing years that we'll never forget. And not only on the football field, but just as friends, as brothers. I can call these guys whenever I need them and they'll be able to talk to me. I think we created not only an amazing football team and amazing football kind of atmosphere at Columbia, but we created a brotherhood that kind of is continuing to get stronger and stronger. Alumni participation got stronger while we were there. The buzz around us got stronger when we were there. And to be a part of that change, we're always going to remember that. And I think we're going to continue that now being alumni. And it's just, it's amazing, and it's humbling to be a part of.
Yeah, when I think back on just the 5 years that I spent at the program, it's hard to think of any other word than just pride, and coming in as a freshman in 2014, there wasn't a lot of pride in wearing the Block C, wearing Columbia football gear around. And now it's a sense of pride. People are proud to kind of say they played Columbia football, and people are proud to come to games. People are proud to wear the light blue. And it's such a culture change from where it started. So for me, it's just it's a crazy feeling to look back on and just think like, I can't believe we were the class to do that. I mean, I can just all the trials and tribulations, and it was just a special group of guys. And I feel honored to represent those guys and represent the program, because I think when Bagnoli first got hired, I went to the speech right when he got hired, and he looked at us and kind of in a Bagnoli way said, we're going to wake the sleeping giant. And I think about that, and it's like, well, why not? Like, why not us? And we bought in, and it really is kind of crazy for me to think about. We're a Division I football program. We have the only stadium in Manhattan. We got swaggy unis. Why not us? Why not Columbia? And I think that our, two classes and the classes before us really kind of set the program in a trajectory where we can be in the upper echelon of the Ivy League in football, and we should be. And I think that the staff has done an amazing job. A lot of effort has gone into kind of building up this program, not only from the football staff, but just the athletic department in general. And it's a culture shift from the school to see the support that we're getting now. And I'm honored to have been a part of it, and I'm honored to continue to be a part of it. And I know that a lot of winning cures a lot of things, and I think that this is only going to continue. And we're really, really excited to see what the program does once we get back to football. It's weird being in the stands now or in the booth. I've announced a couple of games, but it's always awesome to see the Lions run out, and go Lions, we're Lions forever.
Thank you for watching tonight's 2018 season highlights. Next week, we'll have our final episode 4, covering the 2019 season and a message from Coach Bagnoli.